get you a pen, pencil, and paper, and snatch out your phones and be ready to take notes. I'm about to drop this shit on y'all. Real heavy. I'm just gonna drop all this shit on y'all at one time. It's probably the last video I'm gonna make on Tupac being alive, just based off all of the information I'm about to drop on y'all at one time. And I must say, if this doesn't convince you, then you just in denial. Well, baby, that's just the way you was born. You was just born being in denial, and shit just hit you in your face, and you just sit there like a dummy. Or you just go against the grain. You just naturally just go against the grain just because it just suits your ego, it feeds your ego, or whatever. Like, you still tell your children Santa Claus is real, as if that gives your children some type of hope or some type of false sense of reality, like it's going to prepare them for something good later on in life. To each his own. But if this shit don't convince you, then just point blank period. You just fucking in denial. Just even with more evidence, more historical evidence at that. So in this video, I'm about to name movies where people fake their deaths. I'm about to name people who actually fake their deaths. Or tried to. Because there's some people who tried and they didn't get very far. So y'all can say, oh, well, those are just movies and it's not real, it's fake, it's pretend, it's fiction. But somebody wrote the script. It was inspired by somebody or something. Or I can just give it to you like this. I'll do you one better. If you deny that, you can't deny the people in real life who actually pulled it off and actually got away with it, versus the people who actually got caught. Because there's some motherfuckers who try to fake their deaths and they got caught doing this shit. But I'm gonna break all this shit down in this video, and this is shit you can Google. Everything I'm about to mention is not speculation or assumptions or anything like that. We just know he did. We just know he faked his death. We don't know how he pulled this shit off. We just know he did. But in this video, I'm gonna pretty much give you some substance. I'm gonna give you some type of merit and just give you an idea where his mind was, and possibly a book that he read which prepared him. You know what I'm saying? That he was like, I ain't gonna tell nobody I read this motherfucker right here. Fuck the bullshit. But for example, if you a real Tupac fan, if you a real fan, if you a real supporter of Tupac, you should have at least one book that he said he read in prison. Like he said in that Vibe interview when he was sitting on the couch talking to that lady from Vibe. You gotta have at least one of them. I got two of them. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. It's a short book, but it's packed with info. Food for thought. It's a mental book, you know what I'm saying? It's just like you can take a little short sentence and you can break that shit down in all type of different ways in your life and how to deal with certain people and shit like that. It's the Art of War. It's a mental thing. The second book I got that Tupac mentioned was How to Win an Argument Every Time and Win. That's a lengthy book, and I haven't finished reading it, but it's a good book so far. Niggas need to expand their fucking vocabulary. Niggas still got this fucking goddamn 6th, 7th grade education and shit. Motherfuckers be trying to come at me with that 6th or 7th grade education and shit and thinking that shit is cute, thinking that shit gonna fly, thinking I'm just gonna sit back and just laugh at you. Dawg, nigga, I'm embarrass your ass any way that I can. Niggas need to step up their goddamn vocabulary. But expand that shit. Food for thought. So with all that being said, let's begin. Let's begin with this first book. Like it say in the title, Tupac read this book. He read this book. He had to read this book before he faked his death. What's the book called? How to Disappear Completely and Never Be Found by Doug Richmond. And I'm assuming that this motherfucker gives a step-by-step on how to first fake your death or how to plan it and shit like that. And I mean, it's a book is worth checking out. I'ma eventually get the shit if they still got it in print. The motherfucker came out in 1985. And all the books that Tupac read, like he just said some of the books that he read, but the Tupac had to read this book. It's an actual book out that was in print in 1985 on how to disappear completely and never be found. Once again by Doug Richmond. Now just let me go into the movies right quick. This is just a couple movies I done researched and shit. A lot of these movies I done seen. There's a couple of them I haven't seen, and I'm gonna check them out though. But it's these movies where motherfuckers fake their death, blatantly fake their deaths for whatever reason, for either for financial gain or to just fool the enemy, pretty much. I mean, goddamn, you know, like I mean the main one everybody knows he read was Machiavelli. Everybody knows he read that book. So just imagine if he read Machiavelli and then the book on how to disappear completely and never be found. I see that shit. I was like, yo, this nigga's alive. Fuck the bullshit. He got a hold of that shit somehow. But anyway, so the first movie is Double Jeopardy. If you ain't never seen Double Jeopardy, go check that out. That's with Ashley Judd in it. Her husband, the dude played Nick Parsons, he pretty much faked his death to take out the life insurance policy and framed his wife for killing him. Right? Second movie, Colombiana. Now, Colombiana wasn't, she didn't fake her death. The actress that played that, her name is Zoe. I forget her last name. I always forget her last name, but her name is Zoe. So in Colombiana, pretty much like in the beginning of the movie, they kill her parents. And then she runs away as a little child and gets away at that actress. She's a little grown now or whatever, but she was a little girl at the time. She played her, you know, played the young her or whatever, but she ran away and, you know, she was pretty much going to avenge her parents' death. And the only reason that, you know, people felt that she was alive or even just had to prove that she was alive is because the dude she was dating took a picture of her. That shit went through the system like a motherfucker and located the FBI. And they was like, okay, this bitch alive. A third movie, Nick Fury in Captain America, Winter Soldier. This nigga got shot up. Everybody thought he was dead. Wasn't the case. I mean, you could say like, well, he didn't fake his death, he just survived. I mean, it's the same shit, you know, that probably happened with Pac. You know, like I said, we don't know how he pulled the shit off. It's not for us to know. It's only for us to speculate, assume, and everything. All Tupac probably wanted us to know is like, motherfucker, I faked my death. That's what I did. But I'm going to get into that later with the actual real life people and shit. The fourth movie, Mission Impossible. The first one, 1996, Jim Phelps. Like, if you remember that movie, like, Tom Cruise was watching him on the fucking goddamn screen and shit. He was watching him die. Seen the blood, he got shot and everything like that. This motherfucker ended up popping back up in the movie and shit. Back from the dead. Fifth movie. I haven't seen this one. I want to see this one. It's a 1973 movie, The Sting. It's two FBI agents who fake their death. Yeah, they pretty much like act like they was beefing with each other and shot each other and shit. And then these motherfuckers, I seen a little clip and they just like blood coming out everywhere. Then these motherfuckers get up off the ground and start laughing and shit and shake each other's hands. The sixth movie, Sleeping with the Enemy with Julia Roberts. She had to fake her death in order to escape her abusive husband. Her husband thought she couldn't swim, so she jumped off the edge of the motherfucking boat and swam to shore. Went somewhere and shit, changed her name and shit like that. He ended up finding her, but you know, it's the fact that she actually faked her death. Seventh movie, Thor. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all seen Thor. Loki faked his death. Loki faked his death, and then, you know, I remember this one part of the movie, Thor was talking, he thought he was talking to his dad, but he was really talking to Loki. He, what's that word called? Anthropomorphized. He switched back into his regular self. The eighth movie, Le Film Lakita, 1990. And I wrote down the line. There was a line in the movie. It was old boy. I forget his name. I don't know his name, but I remember he was the villain in the first Bad Boys with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. The line said is, "You died Saturday at 5 p.m. The prison doctor confirmed suicide after an overdose on tranquilizers. You was buried here, in this section, in this row." The ninth movie, James Bond. I gotta see this one. 1967 film. You Only Live Twice. James Bond faked his death to spy on the Japanese. The 10th movie, The Do-Over, with Adam Sandler and David Spade. That's a movie about them faking their deaths and going on this wild adventure and shit like that. There's another movie, 11th movie, The Familiar Stranger. Another movie about somebody faking their deaths. And the last movie that I found was Friended to Death. It's about a social media junkie who faked his death to see who would show up at his funeral. So that's all with the movies. But just with that being said, I mean, people, when it comes to Tupac, it's like people don't want him to be alive. Like they'll switch it back on us. It's like, oh, y'all don't want him to be dead. Nah, it's just too much shit. There's too much evidence out there that supports that him being alive. Like all this shit that I done named right there, and the reasons why they did it. I mean, even those were movies and shit. You know, these scripts have to be written. And if your script is bullshit, it's not gonna hit the screens. And those is all some of those movies with the main plot was not to fake their death or whatever. But you know what I'm saying, you get where I'm going with this shit. They pretty much faked their deaths at some part of the movie. Some movies were based on a person faking their death. Now finally, let's get to the people, the actual people in real life who actually fake their deaths. Now y'all can go ahead and Google this shit for yourself, because I'm not finna read all of this. I'm not finna do all the homework for y'all. You can go, all you gotta do is put faked death, F-A-K-E-D, death, Wikipedia, and look it up, and they'll give you a whole definition. The whole definition of faking your death is called pseudocide. In the cases in which an individual leaves evidence to suggest that they are dead to mislead others. This motherfucker Pac was a motherfucking genius. And it's done for a variety of reasons. You know, some people do it to fraudulently and collect insurance money, or to avoid capture by law enforcement. Tupac said he was tired of fucking running from. He's tired of running from the goddamn police. And he wasn't trying to fucking go back to jail for no bullshit and trying to frame him for something. It's like most of these people fake their deaths to pretend drowning. They pretend to drown because it's like they said it's a plausible reason for the absence of a body. Usually you drown, you know, sometimes they can't find you. Why? Because the fishes might eat you up and get to you. Some big ass shark might come along and just rip your ass apart. So these are the notable fake deaths. Like I said, I'm not going to read all of them. Some of these people names I can't pronounce because they're foreign or whatever. But one of them is John Stonehouse, a British politician who faked his own suicide by drowning to escape financial difficulties and live with his mistress. He was discovered in Australia, where police initially thought he might be Lord Lucan, and then his ass was jailed. So John Stonehouse tried to fake his death and he got caught. Another person, Timothy Dexter, an eccentric 18th century New England businessman who faked his own death to see how people will react. Sound like that movie. Like I told you, they had to get these ideas from somewhere. Usually they, like a lot of these movies, they get the shit like shit that happened in real life. I mean, it's like a lot of those movies were not science fiction. I think the only science fiction one that I mentioned was Thor. But then he said, it says that his wife did not shed any tears at the wake, and as a result, he canned her for not being sufficiently saddened at his passing. This motherfucker faked his death, came back and told his wife, "Hey, bitch, you ain't shed a tear or nothing. Not a tear. Put this bitch in jail. Fuck this bitch." That shit was funny. I like to read that one right there. I like to see a movie on that. Let me see. It's another one. It's a person named John Darwin, a former teacher and prison officer from Hartlepool, England, faked his own death on the 21st of March, 2002. He went out to sea and disappeared. Something fell apart. His roots fell apart in 2006. A simple Google search revealed a photo of him buying a house in Panama. This motherfucker left a paper trail and ended up getting caught. There was a person named Marcus Schrenker. Can't pronounce that last name. He is a financial manager from Fishers, Indiana. He was charged with defrauding clients and attempted to fake his death to avoid prosecution. He was captured following a multi-state 3-day manhunt. Let me see, who is this? Blah 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 blah. So it's like a lot of these people attempted to fake their deaths and shit and got caught or whatever. But there's one person in here who actually, they don't even give no information. They just say this motherfucker faked his death and that was it. Let me see. Let me scroll down here right quick. Let me see. They got one motherfucker tried to fake his death. Some corrupt Louisiana policeman to be accused of molesting a teenage girl in 1988. He left his truck alongside a bridge and sent a note to the police department. The suicide was ruled inconclusive after police failed to find a corpse in the river, and a hiker reported to a policeman opening fire on him without warning. So what the fuck? And this shit was on Unsolved Mysteries and notes. Somebody named David Friedland. A former New Jersey senator faked his own death via scuba diving accident in 1985 while awaiting trial on racketeering charges. But they don't give any more information. I guess he got away. They got somebody named Francisco. Is that Paisa? Anyway, this motherfucker was a Spanish Secret Service agent. 1988, not 1988, my fault. 1998, he faked a fatal cardiac arrest in Thailand after he tricked Louis Roldan, known for being the general of the Spanish Civil Guard, when the big scandal of corruption arose in 1993, into stealing all the money that Roldan had previously stolen in the case. He appeared in 2004. During these years, he opened up an offshore company as it was exposed thanks to Panama Papers. And this is the last one right here. I think this is the one. I don't know how to pronounce this person's name. It's a Russian, so I don't know how to pronounce Russian names or last names or anything. But the name is spelled A-R-K-A-D-Y. Last name B-A-B-C-H-E-N-K-O. A Russian journalist living in the Ukraine. This is recently too. In 2018, he faked his own assassination. Hence, he faked his own assassination. What Tupac was supposed to be assassinated, which was widely reported in the international press as a part of a sting operation aimed at exposing an agent sent to kill him. And then it says that his appearance at a press conference the day after his death caused an international sensation. That shit was deep right there. This year, this motherfucking Russian faked his fucking goddamn death and then held a press conference a day after his death. Like I said, if that shit don't say nothing, if that don't speak volumes, I give up. Well, not that I give up trying to convince motherfuckers that this nigga Tupac faked his fucking death. And as I go back and I said, he had to read that goddamn book. He had to read that book on How to Disappear Completely and Never Be Found by Doug Richmond, 1985. Step-by-step detail on how to get the fuck up out of Dodge when you need to and not leave a paper trail. This is probably one of the books that Tupac read. Now, what's the difference between Tupac and a lot of these other motherfuckers besides the last person I read? Because the last person I read, that person actually faked an assassination attempt. It doesn't say who tried to assassinate him. They don't give that information. And I haven't dug deep into that, but you know, maybe they have some information on who he had set up to try to assassinate him. But the difference between Tupac is that it would be harder. Pac probably was like, well, maybe I can fake and commit suicide, but it's hard to do that. As you can see, what I just read, motherfuckers tried to fake their deaths and shit by committing suicide, and it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much it, y'all. I mean, that should just say a whole lot for a 30-minute video. Y'all gotta go watch those movies if you choose to. Y'all gotta go try to go get this book. I just love fucking read the goddamn title. It exists. This type of shit exists. How to Disappear Completely and Never Be Found. 1985. Doug Richmond. I feel that Tupac read this book. He read this book and he said, okay, I got it. All he needed was a couple motherfuckers to do it. Like, yeah, everybody else, he needed this whole team. He had to pay off this person. He had to pay off that person and everything like that. What some of these motherfuckers do when they fake their death? They fake their death to sit back and watch motherfuckers to see how they really act. This motherfucker, yeah, he faked his fucking death. But like that's what happens. Like, the motherfucker sat back and just looked at these motherfuckers. It was just like, oh, so now I'm a coward. So now I'm a coward because I didn't want to sit in the fucking goddamn jail, detached from life and shit for some bullshit that I didn't do. Yeah, because you know why? Because those are the real bitch ass niggas. Those are the fucking goddamn niggas and the type of people that Tupac was exposing and telling everybody to stay away from. Them same niggas, and it's not everybody, You never know what the fuck these motherfuckers was planning on trying to fucking pin on Pac. To silence him permanently. Either they have to put him in jail or they have to kill him. And this nigga only had one option, is to get the fuck out of Dodge. That's real shit. That's real motherfucking shit. Like I said, I sit back and I observe everybody. Everybody. I don't give a fuck if I dislike you or disagree with you, nigga. I'm still listening. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to sit in the cut. Sit in the cut and listen. That's all you got to do. Because we get it. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing that hasn't been said that's been said already. We already know. Some people choose to speak on it. Some people choose not to speak on it. But at the end of the day, there's nothing new under the sun. We already know this shit. We already got our speculations. We didn't already mapped out everything. Like I said, this nigga faked his death. We don't know how he did it. We just know he did. And all the fucking goddamn evidence and certain things just point to it. Now I brought you the goddamn proof. I brought you the fucking goddamn assignment. I gave you homework to do. And like I said, this is not all people. It's not all people. Everybody that talk about Tupac alive, all of them are not bad. Just like the people who think Tupac is dead. They're not all bad either. It's just that, you know, they've already come to their conclusion. They came to their conclusion in the beginning. They have to stick with it. They can't switch up and say like, oh, well, shit, well now we think Tupac is alive. No, because then everybody's going to shit on him. That's the thing about YouTube, is you say one thing, you better stick to it. You can't be switching up and shit like that. These motherfuckers tear your ass apart. That shit fucks with people's egos and shit. These motherfuckers who got egos, like I said, prostituting for likes, views, and subscribers. That shit hurts them, our fucking feelings. But right there you have it. All the information is in front of you now. And the only thing left at the end of the day, people are going to accept it or they're going to deny it.